You see here the new prototype from Waldorf, the quantum synthesizer. And it's a working prototype. It's a hybrid digital analog polysynth. It has 3 oscillators with different synthesis technologies. Of course, the wavetables here from the Waldorf tradition. We have waveforms where you find your traditional analog waveforms. We have what we call particle, which is a granular sampler. And we have a resonator, which is a resonating filter bank to get additional timbres. We have 3 of them, and each can have freely the synthesis algorithms. We have then 2 dual analog filters, and these are voice inserts. That means they're inserting into the digital voice. They are going out to the analog, and we have 2 OTA-based filters for each voice, and then it goes back into the voice. We have another digital former, which could be before or after the analog filters, which gives another digital effects like drives, bit crushers, further digital filters, etc. We have envelopes. We have 3 on the panel and 6 in total. We have digital effects here, 3 on the panel, and another multi-stage envelope, a glide, and 3 envelopes here on the left, but another 3, so 6 in total. Which means that we have all the knobs here with a single function, and you can do maybe about 80% of the sound editing. And then we have a touch display here in the middle with high resolution, where you see here you have then access to all the 6 LFOs, or you can go to the envelopes and see the envelope curves and can edit them either by the encoders here, or you can do some touch-based editing here as well. We have then here a multi-layer system, so we have 2 layers where you can switch for multi-terminal operation. We have 8 voices in total. So you can split it in 4 plus 4 or 1 plus 7, whatever you want. That's basically a quick overview, but maybe we hear some sounds. It's a simple key sound. So here's a little bit of the filter with resonance. We have an arpeggiator, of course. We have the wavetables also with the extension we did in the Nave synthesizer with speech and also spectrum and other functionalities. We have traditional sounds for traditional keyboard playing. We have more arpeggiators here. The arpeggiator has some chord modes, so you can just play a chord, play another chord, then here you hear some of the sizzling granular sampling. Another complex arpeggiator. Let's move a little bit to the dual filters. So both analog filters are in parallel, which gives an interesting sound. So Let me now adjust the cutoff of the second parallel filter. I'm turning the second filter down. Now you have the first filter without much of resonance. If you have a second resonance slightly detuned to the first resonance, you get some kind of formant-like sounds. We have, for example, here we see Resonator, which is a source like a click or like a noise, which goes to a multi-band resonator. You can get some spacey sounds like these. You can also get some more plug sounds from the resonator. Again, a little bit of the granular sampler. Of course, we have traditional synthesizer sounds here with unisono and all the features you would expect. If you look at the back side, we have main stereo outs, we have auxiliary stereo outs. For example, if you have a multi-layer sound, you can split the other layer into the other outputs. We have headphones. We have audio in for sampling, and also for live feeding audio through the voice.
So is that sampling to the like wavetables?
Yes, you can build wavetables from sampled audio, or you can feed it to the granular sampler as well. We have pedals, classic sustain, and a control pedal, which could be also used as a CV input if you have a modular. We have two kinds of USB, a host and device. For example, you would use this one for a connection to a computer with your DAW or such. But if you have one of these MIDI controllers, you can plug a MIDI controller in here, which gives you whatever now fancy controls with pressure and whatever. We have SD card for storing, exporting sounds and audio and updating the system. And of course, classic MIDI as well.
So, with the USB, is that just is no audio over that? It's just MIDI information.
That's a good question. We are looking into audio, but I could not make any promise at this moment.
So, when are you hoping to have it ready and shipping, and what kind of price are you aiming for? I imagine it's quite early days at the moment. So.
Yeah, it's early days, but our shipping aim is Q4 this year. And for the price, it's hard to say, but we would say it's maybe above 3,000, 3 something, I would say. So it's truly a flagship instrument. Here you hear a little bit of the granular sampling, which the trick is to do it in a way that you can play notes and voices and chords. This is a more spacey sound. Which travels through some wavetables. So, so this is the, let's get me this oscillator here. Here you have the plug light sound from the resonator. See what's next here. That's a bass sound. So you can have quite some aggressive sounds as well. That's an unisono sound. So you see here in the VUs, so each of the 8 VUs here is a voice. easily see this is a 4-voice unisono. Let's see what comes now. That's a more warm sound. More melodic stuff. This is a distortion. Which gives an additional overtone. Glockenspiel. But of course you can do not only complex sounds, you can do some classical, simple sounds. We haven't done any big sound design for yet, so it has 1,000 slots. I don't know, we will deliver this with a couple of hundred. We are starting with 30 right now, so we're still building that stuff. A classic simple wavetable sounds with some modulation of the timbre to get transients in the beginning. This is, I think we had this. So, this was the resonator with the noise. Maybe I removed the wavetable stuff. And the resonator noise has a private envelope, so if I switch the envelope, get a total different sound here. So we have a lot of features here as well. This was a dual filter sound we already had. If we, for example, now putting on the resonances. And there are two modes for the filters. We have a mode where each cutoff is separate, and we have a mode which we call link mode, where the second cutoff is the distance to the first cutoff. Here you hear the vowel-like sounds because we have two resonance peaks. Also you get a nice saturation. We of course have 12 and 24 dB sounds. One explaining here, this, by the way, is Axel Hartmann, one of the famous, if not the famous synth designer, which of course did the design of the Quantum.
Hello. Cheerio.
So let's see what...
I see the first time today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a more complex sound where you see here with the colors, we have three different the resonator, the wavetable, and the analog waveform working. And we are using the colors here of the knobs to help editing. For example, if we press the mod here, right? Now the total colors change of the buttons, and we see all possible modulation targets, all parameters we can modulate which are on the panel. What I can see now here, the cutoff has a slightly different color than the other ones because he has already a modulation running. And if I, for example, want to modulate this, I just slightly turn it, everything else goes off, and now I can see what are the modulation sources. So we can see here in the LFOs, and if I turn the LFO here, you can see I have with green a positive modulation, and yellow is nothing, and red is a negative modulation. So it's a quite intuitive way to do modulation assignments. Of course, we have a modulation matrix where you can see all the slots which modulates what. For example, you can see here the cutoff is done by the aftertouch, and we have also an easy way to introduce the wheel and aftertouch. For example, let me start with an init sound, go back to the modulation. Let's take a pitch modulation, and let's take an LFO. And here I can set the modulation of the LFO, but this might be boring. So instead to have it a constant modulation, we can say, let's control this with aftertouch. And then I can set the amount here for the aftertouch. Now I have an easy way to control the modulation by another controller, which is very simple. Typically in other synthesizers you have to set up complex stuff, so this is some intuitive way how to do it. And we are still not finished with the software. You can see here's lots of empty space in the screen. So we, for example, in the LFOs, we see the shapes, etc. If you have an attack, it scales, and we see the envelopes as well here. But of course, what you really want to see is here the wavetable diagrams. And if you know the Nave app, you see what Waldorf has done in that respect in the past, and we will do something similar here as well. But we just started with the GUI development a few weeks ago, so we need some time in the next months to finish that.